The next central concept of object-oriented programming is inheritance. Suppose we have a class animals. And this class animals have some specific characteristics that are the same for all objects that are here in this class. So let's say that every object in this class has head and eyes. This class is called parent class or superclass. And then we have several subclasses, and every object within this subclass also has head and eyes, the same as in parent class. However, additionally, every of those subclasses has also some class-specific characteristics that are specific, for example, here only for amphibians, here only for reptiles, for mammals, and for birds. These classes are also called child classes or subclasses. And every of these subclasses inherits from parent class, from superclass animals. Let's have a look on another example for better understanding. So suppose we have a mother, and this mother has abilities: cook, sing, dance, and teach. This mother, this parent, has 3 kids. Every of those kids will inherit the same abilities from their parent: cook, sing, and dance. So you see that every person here, every kid, has the same abilities. However, every person has also additionally their own abilities, so to say, new skills. This relationship is called also is a relationship. So this is a mother of a child, or this is a child of a mother. Also parent-child relationship, parent-child, or superclass and subclass relationship. So let's get to our Eclipse environment to have a look how those concepts work in practice. So let's create a class that is called zoo. So this class zoo is our class that is actually, like we see, this is a class. However, this class is already a subclass. This class inherits from one very important object that is called Java lang object. So actually, when you write usually your class, so you are writing public class zoo or public class and class name, this is the same as if you would write public class zoo extends Java lang object, Java language object. This object, Java language object, this is the only object in Java that doesn't have parent class. However, all objects that are created, all classes that are created, they will inherit automatically this class. The advantage of it, of this inheritance, is that automatically all classes that you create will be able to use the methods that are already defined in this Java lang object class. This is out of the scope of our exercise and lecture to show you the how to use the methods. However, they are very useful, so please have a look on them, what kind of methods are inside of Java language object class, and try to use them. So we'll save it and we'll come to an example of inheritance. So let us create a new class that is called animal. So this animal has two variables. The first one is private integer age, and another one is protected string name. This class has two methods. The first one is getter and another one is setter, and we want to create those setters and getters for our private variable. So public data type of our variable is integer, getting age and returning age, and another public, and another one is public setting, so it is void get set age, and this should be the same data type as here, integer age, and we will use the same name for parameter, so we will have to access the class instance, the instance variable with our this keyword, and this is the way how to do it. So now we have here the we have defined our two variables, private integer age and protected name, and two methods, getter and setter. And now we want to create a class that inherits from this animal. So we are creating now a lion class. And when you want to specify that one class inherits from another class, then you are using the keyword extends, and after the keyword extends, you are writing the name of the class from where your class inherits. So this is animal1, this is this name, and we are putting this name here. And this means that automatically all, we will put them side by side. Automatically all our class line1 has these variables here and these methods. And we want to have additional abilities or additional methods that are valid only for lion. So first method is public void set properties. And this method takes two parameters. First is age of integer data type, and second one is string of with name n. And we are using, so what we want to do in this method, we want to assign some values of the variables, of the variables of these variables. So we want to assign the values that we will insert in this method as parameters to these variables. So it means that we want to access these two variables. Since our first age variable is private, we have to use our setter method in order to access it. So we are using now set age method, and we are setting the value of this variable, of this parameter age that will be inserted when this method set properties will be called. And we assigning the name the value of this parameter that will be inserted when the method setProperties will be called, and this n will be assigned to our name variable. And another method is also of public and void data type, and it is called roar. And when this method is called, the following text will be printed. So we want to print here name plus age, and now we want to get our age. So that's why we are using the getter method plus says roar. And now we want to see how it works. So we are creating our main method, public void main string arguments. Now we want to create a new object of lion type. Let us call this object lion. That is new lion 1. And now we want to set the values for these variables for the lion object, and for this purpose we can use now the method that we have already created here that will automatically assign the values to these variables. So in this case we just writing the name of the method setProperties, and in brackets we are putting the values that we want to have. So the age should be 3 years, and the name of the lion is Kion. And the last what we want to have, we want to call, so this should be of course accessed with lion, and the last we want to call the method roar. And we are executing this, and we see the result, that is Kion age 3 says roar. So here once again, first you are defining a class that is parent class. This is the class that will have some variables and methods that will be available to all subclasses. So this will be the behavior and the data that all objects of the classes that inherit from this class will be able to implement, will be able to use. And now let us create another example. Let us create a class mammal. And this class mammal, this will be our superclass. And this class mammal has just one variable for simplicity, variable type, and we will assign already a value mammal. And we are saving this. And now we will create another class that inherits from this mammal class. So the new class is called bet. And since the bet inherits from mammal, we are using the keyword extends and the name of the class of the parent class, that is mammal1. So now we can access this variable type that is already initialized with the value mammal. So first we will create another variable of type string with the name type, and we will assign the bet value to this variable. So now you see that we have two classes. The one class, mammal class, is parent class, and bet class, I will put them aside, is our child class that is specified with the word extends mammal. Both of the classes, they have the string variable with the same name. It means that when we will call, if we will call this this variable type in our bet class, then the value that you'll receive will be bet already. However, maybe you would like to access still the variable value from the parent class. In this case, you can do this with the keyword super. So let us write a method public string get type, and we want to return here the type of this type, so this variable from our parent class. In this case, we are using super keyword. We are putting dot, and you see already some notes from Eclipse, so you can use here type. And this is the way how you can use this, how you can access the parent class variable. And we want to additionally print the value of the variable type from our bet class. And in order to specify that you want to access this variable from this class, you are using the keyword this type. And now we will create our main method. And we have, so I will show you two options how to declare and initialize an object. So the first one that is known to you, we are writing bet1 is bet new bet. So we have now declared and initialized an object, and we want to print system out print line. We want to print the result of this method. So this is the method that now belongs to this object. So we want to access actually the method from this object. So we are putting here the object name, that is bet, and the method that is get type. So you're executing and you see mammal bet. So here with the super keyword, you're accessing the value of the variable type from our parent class, and with this keyword, you're accessing the value of the variable type from our child class. So as I promised, I will show you the shortcut for when you don't want, just this is kind of quick shortcut for you when you are trying some codes and you don't want to use the long option, you don't want to assign the value of new object to a variable. But in this case you can just do the following. So this is second option. You are just printing immediately your print lines. So, and here inside you are just writing new bet get type. So what you do here, you see, so we'll receive here of course some errors because we cannot so here you see that we are using now here just new bet1, that is actually this part. The difference is that we are not assigning this new object to some specific name, just to a specific data type. We are just printing immediately the result of the method. When if we will execute, we will receive here the same result. So just short to revise, when you are using inheritance concept in Java, first you are creating a parent class with variables and methods that are general for all objects within this class, but also that will be general for all inheriting classes, for all subclasses that come from this superclass. So it means that, for example, in our member class, we are defining here one variable that describes the attributes. You're describing attributes here, and you can also describe methods within this parent class. And then when you are creating child class, you are using the keyword extends, and you are writing the name of the parent class afterwards, and then you can access all the variables and methods from the parent class. Important is to remember that if any variables in parent class are private, then for every private variable you have to create getter and setter method. And then you can use these getters and setters to access these variables in your child class. The second point is that if you have the variables, two variables, like one variable in your parent class and another variable in your child class with the same name, however different values inside, and you want to access the variable from the parent class, you have to use the keyword super. And if you want to access the variable value from your child class, you can use the keyword this. The next topic is overriding. Let us create a class that is called Kanin. This class, it will be our parent class, and this class has one method, public double get average weight, and we are returning value 50. That's all. So we just have only one method in this class. And let's create another class that is called Wolf. And this Wolf class is child class. That's why we are writing extends kanin1. So what is overriding? Overriding is when we want to define a new version of the same method. That is, that we want to have a method with the same name, but with another statements inside. That is, that we are overriding this method. If you want to create a method in your child class that will override the existing method from the parent class, then you're using the keyword override. This here is annotation. So the annotations, they provide some metadata for your compiler about source codes, not only for compiler but also for Java documentations, for example. It means that this, in comparison to comments, the comments, they are not visible to Java. The annotations, they are visible to Java, but they have only metadata, so they can be some specific information can be printed out to your Java documentation and so on. So this is very nice to have this kind of annotations before the methods that correspond to this annotation. So for example, now we are using override annotation because now we will specify the method for overriding. Okay, so the method is public, so it's actually the same method. We can copy this, but we will have here a different statement inside, and we want to say that actually our wolf it is heavier than just 50 kilos, so it is we want to add 20 kilo additionally to this value. And if we want to access now the value that is here inside, that is inside of the method getAverage in the parent class, in the super class, we are using the keyword super, and then we are using our method from the parent class, getAverage weight, and we are adding 20 to it. So here we are with this super keywords, we are referencing the super version of the method. That is the method version that is in the super class. This method here, it is inherited from our superclass, but we define here new implementation of this method. That is here, implementation is here inside. And if we want to see what kind of result is here, we are using here our main method, public static void main string and arguments, and we want now to print to the console system out print line. So first we want to get the result of this method. So we are referencing with the name of the class, that is kanin1, dot get average weight So here, this is what I just explained to you. We just don't want to create new object. We are creating new object, but we don't want to assign it to a specific variable. So we are just writing it here and using the method that belongs to it. And another line, we want to have the result of the same method, however, from the method that now belongs to our Wolf class. We are executing and we see the result that tells us that the method getAverageWeight from our parent class provides us with the value 50, and at the same time the same methods from our child class gives us value 70, that is the sum of 50 and 20 here. So important here to remember is that when you are overriding, you are using the same method. You're doing the new implementation of the same method, of inherited method from the parent class. Very often students mix two concepts that are overriding and overloading. So these concepts, they have something similar, but they are also different. So the similar characteristic is that both concepts are about redefining the methods with the same name. So in overloading, as you remember, we are, for example, overloading for methods. We are creating several methods with the same name, and we are putting a different list of arguments inside of those methods. When we are doing overriding, we are also using the same name for the methods, and in our parent class, one of those methods is in parent class and another one is in our child class. However, the critical different characteristics of those two concepts are that in overloading, you're using the same name for more than one method in the same class. So important is to remember in how many methods within one class. If you're using the same name for more than one methods in one class, then we are talking about overloading. If you're modifying the method from your parent class in your child class, and the methods have the same name, however, you're doing a new implementation of the method, then we are talking about overriding. Let us have one example to see this difference a bit better. So let us say that we have a class bird. I will put it here first. And I will create already the child class, that is eagle, and I will put it here. Okay, so our parent class is bird, and this class has one variable integer that is called food with the value 4, and this class bird has two methods. One method is fly and another method is eat. So the first method, fly, it is public void fly, and with this, when this method is called, then the following statement will be printed out to our console. Bird is flying. Another method is also of type void. It is called eat, and this method takes one parameter, food, and prints the following statement to the console. Bird is eating, and then we want to put here the value of our variable food, and then units, so many units of food. And we are saving. So this is our parent class with one variable food and two methods, fly and eat. And here's our child class that extends our bird1, and it has one variable height and now first without any initialization. So two concepts, overloading and overriding. So first, let's have a look on overloading in practice. So overloading, when we have the different list of argument for the same for the method with the same name. So different list of arguments. It means that we are now take the method that is already there, public void fly, and we are rewriting the same method but with different list of arguments. That is that we are putting here inside, for example, one argument that is my height, and we are changing also here bird is flying at plus my height plus meters. So let us let's first write also the second method. The next concept is overriding, and this is when we use the same signature. That is, we are using method that looks the same, that has the same definition. If this method has to return any data type, for example here string would be, then with overriding you would have to use the same signature, that is using the same data type, for example. However, now we have here void method, so we are using, first we are writing override, and we are using the same definition of the method with just different statement inside. This bird is eating much more food. And we are creating the main method to demonstrate the usage of those concepts. So first we will create a new object, eagle, that is new eagle 1. And we are calling now the methods that we defined here, these two methods that belong to eagle. So the first one is fly and the second one is eat. So eagle dot fly, and we have to put here inside argument. So you see now here you have two possibilities. The first possibility that you don't put anything inside. That is the method that was defined here in our parent class. The second possibility is that you can put here integer my height. And this is the concept of overloading. You have the method first from the parent class, second the method from your child class that are the same. They are just taking different list of arguments. Let us maybe try both of them. And eagle fly, and now we are putting here, let us say 40. That would be the value for the integer variable my height. And then the next one, we want to use the method eat. And you see now that once more, you have only one option. You have the signature of those two methods, they are same. This is the signatures are same, so it looks that you have one method here, and we are using this method, and we are putting here 8 units of food, and we are now executing this. So first, the first result, bird is flying. Bird is flying is the result of this print line statement that was as a result of calling fly method here. The second, bird is flying at 40 meters. This is the result of calling method fly with integer inside here, and this is this method here. You see here the example of overloading using the same two methods with different number of arguments. And here, when you use you use number 8, and the result of this bird is eating much more food, 8 units of food. So this bird is eating much. This is this result of this method. Now you are not able anymore to access this method from the parent class using object dot before the method name. That is that you have applied here the concept override. So the next, here we have chaotic inheritance. The next is abstraction.